Good evening, Professor Valentin. My name is Logan Tello, and I will be doing the 3-minute video. So, it's the most I can take, so I'm going to speed through this one. So, principle one is money has time value. A dollar received today is worth more than a dollar received tomorrow. That is basically is just the rule of it, and it's referring to investing, which can be for the for-profit example. And you could also use it for a nonprofit too, but there will be no discount rate because for nonprofits, time is money, and they just don't have the time to wait on things like that. Maybe there is some under the rug stuff that goes on, but they can't really wait for things like that. So it's a great saying, and it holds true to how I understand finance. Now, principle two. Principle two is that there is a risk return trade off. So putting all your coins in one basket, another saying that you hear a lot about, versus betting on small investments. A lot of investors will put, a lot of risk into one of their investments. They lose out on it. So instead, some people like to bet small. Even those guys who go for the high risks, they also invest small. So that way they do get at least a minimal return. Feel good about themselves and their investments. For profit, you can look at Shark Tank. You can see how they invest, like things like Scrub Daddy, and then some companies that fail out. Scrub Daddy was a small investment, became huge, and then they've invested huge and came with no return. And then for a nonprofit, the risk return could be like purchasing merchandise to fundraise, and not getting a return on it, or advertising things as such. And so that's where the risk trade-off and the return is, for that principle. And so principle three is cash flows are the source of value. Cash flow is the amount of cash that can actually be taken out of a business. So for businesses that are just starting up, it is hard to get any kind of cash flow. You're not going to get any starting out. You're going to be spending a couple months to weeks to years, rather, to make up that money lost. But then eventually, after time, you can see your cash flow. And that would be a for-profit company. For a nonprofit, you just can look at the cash flow chart, just to see where the finances are going, things of such. And as an investor, you can actually ask to request to see that. So I thought that's pretty cool that I learned. Principle four, market price reflects information. Essentially, it's just good news, bad news, higher price, low price. You hear good things about Bitcoin, price skyrockets. You hear bad things, it goes down again. Sell high, buy low. That's for the for-profit example. It's to make money. So that's what that is. And for the nonprofit, you unfortunately cannot make any money buying shares or stake in a company. So yeah. And then lastly, the principle five, individuals respond to incentives. So you can take this in two routes. What I got out of the text and what I read out of the PowerPoint was just like the financial management. If there is an ideology that isn't aligned with the financial manager and the shareholder or stakeholder, that's coming out of the company's pocket, and you don't want that. And that would be a for-profit company. And I believe it can happen as well as a nonprofit, but for-profit is typically where it happens. And then you could also look at it as for-profit. You can have shares and perks. So if you want people to come on board and you want people to be part of your management team, you have to have perks to have them. So for for-profit, you can have perks of holding stake like Publix does. And then for nonprofit, same kind of thing, just merchandise, perks like that, things like that. But they're not focusing more on the money, they're more focusing on fundraising. That is a summary of all five principles, and they can all correlate and work together. And it honestly gave me a better understanding of how everything works. I needed a refresher and I needed more information to know. So this was a great tool in week one, especially to help me with that. So thank you very much. And yeah.